essa. A galera gostou, ele bateu pra frente e jogou certinho pro Robinho. Abertura para Adriano. Ronaldo se mexe, Adriano vai pra cima na marcação. A chance do segundo brasileiro, cruzamento, Kaká tocou pro meio. Robinho, olha o gol. Gol!
Hello guys, we are here today and we're going to talk about Brazilian football and where we are at the moment, what is going on with Brazilian football, what can we expect. We're going to discuss a couple short topics and see what we can come up with, try to analyze, see what's going on with the Brazilian football. So here's the first thing.
First of all, the reality of the team at the moment. We don't have as many, of course, great stars as we did, and that's obvious to everybody. All we have is Neymar. However, we can still build a solid team due to the history and due to the human material that we have. However, it starts at first with the coach. So analyzing Dunga. Dunga, probably one of the best center defensive mids I've seen play the game in recent years. Great in the pitch. However, I don't approve him as the Brazilian national coach. And I don't bring this as a plain criticism. I bring this as somebody that is not structured to be a coach. Brazil chose him back in 2006 due to his leadership, being a previous captain for Brazil. Thought that by him bringing that leadership over, it would also help, engage and teach these players a little bit of what Brazilian football is all about. It didn't work out then, and then they went back into making the mistake of bringing him back. It is not going to work now. For you guys that don't know, during this period of time that he didn't coach Brazil, he actually coached a Brazilian soccer team, Internacional, which was very unsuccessful. He was actually fired, and he hasn't done anything since then. We're talking about a guy who was a great player, but he's never studied the game as far as a technical and tactical view. Has never studied the game. We have way over and much more qualified coaches in Brazil. I know there's a lot of talk about bringing in a coach from the outside, especially in Brazil, bringing in a coach with a different mentality, somebody maybe from Europe or even from other countries in South America. I can already say that that's not going to happen. Brazilians, it might be a mistake, or it might not. But Brazilians have a lot of pride, and it wouldn't go well with the Brazilian people to have a coach from the outside or someone from Europe, even somebody like Pepe Guardiola, which I would actually be interested in seeing on the team, but it wouldn't go well with the people in Brazil. They just wouldn't accept him that way. So I think that first we need to start by structuring and setting a solid foundation, somebody that knows what they're doing, that actually has a project for the team. And Dunga's not that person. So, I did a little research and I listened to a lot of debates through the Brazilian media and channels, and looking through the coaches that we have, their qualifications. There are 2 coaches in Brazil, maybe 3, that have the potential to run as a manager the national team. One is Muricy Ramalho, which has done an excellent job. Within probably the last 10 years, he's won almost everything there is to win in Brazil and in South America. However, he's going through some health issues now. He's not in the best moment of his managing career, so I would kind of put him to the side as a plan C. Plan B is, some of you might know, which is Corinthians manager Tite. He's also been very successful, not just by winning championships, but by building strong foundations and strong teams that actually play as a team and bringing back the characteristics of what Brazilian football is all about. Now, my number one option, a lot of people might not agree with this. If you do know him, you'll remember him mostly from 2004-2005 season, which was not one of his best, which was Vanderlei Luxemburgo when he was managing Real Madrid. That was probably one of the worst managing experiences of his career. He has been a very successful coach in Brazil. He is not a coach that comes from Rio Grande do Sul. Nothing against Rio Grande do Sul, which is a state in Brazil, but coaches like Filipão, which has won a World Cup, Filipão and Dunga and Mano Menezes, the recent coaches we've had in Brazil, they have a defensive mindset. They need to play with 2 or 3 center defensive mids, 1 forward. They don't really think offensive, which is what Jogo Bonito is all about, or the beautiful game, what the Samba boys are about. That's not the Brazil we know. So bringing somebody in like Vanderlei Luxemburgo, he's from Rio de Janeiro. Here's some stats on him for you guys that don't know. He is actually a coach that's won the Brazilian League 5 times. That's very impressive in Brazil, especially due to the high level of competitivity. He's won it 5 times. He's also won the Brazilian Cup. He has 13 state championships. He's won a Copa America. So we're talking about a well-rounded coach, which built very strong reputation and foundation in Brazil throughout different teams. He does have the leadership, and he has the tendency of winning the team over for him. They will play for him. They will defend him. They will give that extra push, that extra breath, which we don't see nowadays in the Brazilian team. And he will rescue the let's play with 2 forwards, 1 center defensive mids. Here's the tactical and technical plan. This is what I want you to do. We're talking somebody that comes with 20 years plus of coaching experience and very successful coaching experience, despite to say. Alright guys, so to wrap up on Brazil, what to expect. We have the World Cup qualifiers coming up starting in October, and I can tell you it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. You know, what do we have as a pro or as a con? As the cons, we have no structure, we have no foundation, and you've heard me say this a lot. However, Dunga's gonna remain as head coach. The Brazilian, confederation is really hard-headed, and it takes them great tragedy to make a change, kind of like the 7-1 against Germany. Like, as getting knocked out of Copa America wasn't tragic enough. But anyway, he's gonna remain as the head coach. What to expect from him, I really don't know. He is very predictable and unpredictable at the same time, but I don't know what to expect for him. To me, that's basically the con. Also, by not having that much human material in hands, that's also part of the con. Part of the pros, there isn't really much pros. Just open parentheses here, just the fact that I don't want to lose this thought. It's going to be the first time in history that Brazil will not participate in a Confederations Cup. Or in other words, this is the first Confederations Cup that we will not see Brazil in. Anyway, let's shove that aside. So what's the pros? I can say that, it's a new beginning. We didn't have, for the last 4 years, we haven't had to do World Cup qualifiers. I think that dropped our level of competitivity down. But I think that we don't need to be so antsy on winning, yet developing and bringing back what we know, our identity, the way we play, Jogo Bonito. Go out there, have fun, and represent the Brazilian jersey. What I think is that we have lots of great talents. I don't understand why Lucas Moura from Paris Saint-Germain is not called. He is more than overdue. He deserves a chance on Brazil. I also do not see why, and some of you are probably going to criticize me for this, but call Kaká and Robinho. And here's why I would call those 2 players over. In the Brazilian national team today, there isn't one player that can pass over what it means to wear that yellow golden jersey. What does it mean to be Brazil? What is it? They don't have that identity. They don't know what it means. Those players are world champions. Well, not Robinho, but Kaká is world champion. He knows what that means. He played with guys like Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Cafu, so he can, you relay that a little bit. I mean, you get people like Pirlo and Miroslav Klose still playing with their national team, passing on to young generations what they saw, what it meant, because that plays a huge role. We have nobody doing that, so that is a huge problem. the Brazilian mindset that we got used to is that we have so many talents, we don't need those old guys anymore. Well, guess what? Now we need everything we can get. So you know what? Call Kaká over. He's gonna be a great help. If he doesn't play, he's still gonna be a great help in the locker room. He's still gonna be a great help when you're concentrating or training or practicing. Call Robinho in. I mean, we saw what he did in Copa America. Was he amazing? No. Is it kind of sad to see a player in his 30s having to come in and call out that responsibility and actually making the team play? Yes, it's still kind of sad, but guess what? He can still do that. Maybe he can't deliver it for 90 minutes, maybe only 30, 45 minutes. Guess what? It's still better than nothing. Plus the experience he brings, the luggage he brings with him, like we say in Brazil. So, Kaká and Robinho, they need to be a consistent. Those two spots need to be consistently filled between those two players. They should not only be called if they are injured. Then start developing an actual team based on that. I would like to see Neymar and Robinho play together. Dunga doesn't believe in that. I believe in that. Another thing I would do too, for the behind the scenes, I would get Leonardo, which some of you might know him from the 1994 World Cup, from working on Milan, on Inter Milan. He is very open to working for the Brazilian Confederation. I guess there's a problem between him and Dunga or somebody in the Brazilian Confederation. They don't call him over to even work for Brazil, but I think he brings a lot of respect with him. He has a lot of passion and desire, along with a lot of good connections in Europe and a lot of experience. So I think those are things that we would definitely be open to take. But you know, despite all this that I talked about, they have to rescue the beautiful game. So they need to go there, step on that pitch, and play like we do when we're kids in Brazil. Pretend we're playing against our friends, because that's when the beautiful soccer starts coming in. And of course, if you have great leadership, if you have a coach that's pushing you, that gives you a plan, when you combine those things together, you acquire 5 world titles. That's what happens. So if Brazil is playing the beautiful game, o jogo bonito, nós somos campeões. We're gonna win. So it's restructuring time. So thank you guys for watching. You'll see me talk a little bit more in my other videos about transfers, about other national teams as well. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later. Thank you.